Well. Who do we have here on this beautiful Sunday night? Come on in. Come on in. Shoes off at the door. Hang your coat on the coat rack. We have reserved our seats on the couch, and when it fills up, y'all know how we do it. We got bean bags, folding chairs, some bunk beds in here for the sleepy heads. We know all of y'all can't hang out late with us, so we're so glad you're here. We invite you to make yourselves at home. Grab yourself a warm beverage from the kitchen to go with your snacks, unless you're someplace where it's a little warm, then grab yourself a cold beverage. I'm grabbing a blanket because it is chilly here. Welcome to Two Cousins and One Couch. Tina, you can turn our little bop off. So, my name is Goze. I am the oldest grandchild and granddaughter on my limb of the family tree. I'm a niece, I'm a big sister, cousin, and auntie. And I move through this world highly protected and deeply connected. After about 4 months of living through this digital nomad life, I'm back in Chicago where the weather is, honestly, it's kind of rude. I'm also the Black Love Permissionist. I'm an intrapersonal and interpersonal relationship consultant and advocate. I'm a certified feminine empowerment and life coach. I'm a trauma educator, cultural conversationalist, multidimensional creatress, and if you ask me, an all around dope ass individual. I'm also one half of the two cousins who host this show. And as per usual, the other half, my real life cousin, Tina Mofa Show, will be joining me on this couch. And she did spike everybody's drink with bourbon, so be easy, y'all. Tina, come tell the people about yourself.
I am tickled today. This lady said I just spiked the people punch with bourbon. That sounds like something I might have did back in the day. Now I'm not gonna. I'm a, uh, I'm gonna plead the fifth. Anyway, so glad to come into this space. I am Tina Mo for show. And I come into the space as the oldest grandchild on my limb of, I almost said the Christmas tree, but on my limb of the family tree. Um, and I come into this space as a lover of things scripturally based. I can't say a Jesus freak, but I most certainly am a Jesus follower. Um, I come into the space as an inspector by trade. I also am a truck driver, for those who do not know. Um, and I am a aunt. I am a sister. I am a daughter. I am a niece. I am a granddaughter, of the which I am a caretaker in that space. And today I can say that I'm just Tina. Almost like just Danielle, just I'm not Danielle. I'm only Tina. Um, I say that because I come into this space just being myself. No additives, nothing to take away. Just me.
Child, these comments thing got quite wild.
Oh my goodness, I see. Oh, I am tickled. Right when I think I'm
Clearly.
fired, I find that I'm rehired.
Rehired. Well, before we get started, drop in the chatments where you are tuning in from. Where you are tuning in from. I know, like I said, I'm tuning in from Chicago, Illinois, South Side. Tina, where you from?
I am currently residing. I'm from Cali. I won't say what city, but I am from California, and I currently reside in what I affectionately call First 48 Tennessee. Where is that? Memphis. The home of Bill Street, the home of Elvis, and the home of Lester Street. Look it up. That's where we get the first 48 from. But anyway, I'm here, in the South.
In the South. We
In
love
the
the
South.
South. Okay, I see we got people. We got elevated from North Carolina. I've been wanting to make my way over to the Carolinas. Got Britt
Mm-hmm.
family fun from the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. We love it. And also, tell us how you're doing tonight. Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being throw the entire day away. 10 being never better. I would say I'm probably at about an 8.
Mm.
If my back wasn't hurting, I'd be even better.
Well, at this current moment, since I've taken my medication to get rid of some of this pain in my back, I can roughly say I am at a good 7.
Ooh,
I don't want to necessarily throw the day away, but I could use a couple of bumps up to, better than that. But
okay.
I'm in a good space. I'm good.
We can always do a little bit better. Okay, we got Ernest Johnson, my husband,
Hmm.
in the kitchen drinking mint hot chocolate.
Hold
The
on, wait.
Miss
First of
Cheese and I.
all, I can't believe this. What's going on in the chat, Miss? With the
Elevated Chill
six
says
seven?
he is a
Oh.
4.36 out of 10. So specific.
4.36 out of 10.
4.36 out of 10. Well, hopefully we can get you up closer to that 10 with our conversation tonight. Brit Family Fun, 6 for me, dealing with some pain about now. Mhm.
Mm, wow.
Okay.
Amazing. I just want to make sure that we acknowledge everyone in the chat because some people are answering questions and everybody else is like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not telling you where I live. It's
Oh,
not your business. Move on, carry on. We have Yolanda in the building. So glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight. Uh, Greetings and salutations. And we just wanted to make sure that we recognize you as one of our honorary cousins. Welcome to the
yes,
Chapmans.
yes,
Of
yes, yes.
course, we have Elevated Chills. He been calling me neck bone ever since he didn't came in here tonight. So glad that you
Because
decided
next
to
phone
hang
know how to
out with
handle
us.
big
Oh yeah,
things.
that's yes. Hmm. We just want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here Chapmans. I rarely ever trip over my own feet, but I don't know what it is about here. But I be trying to talk, and next thing I know, all my thoughts go out the window. Rodney is in the building, 1472. So glad that you decided to hang out with us. We want to make sure that we honor you as one of our honorary cousins, acknowledge you, of
Mhm.
course. Um, Greetings and salutations. Welcome to these here chatners. We have Shayla in the building. So glad. Um, when I saw that, I had to read it right because she was speaking to both of us. But I
Yes,
was like, why is Shayla talking about some black love? And then I had to remember that's your name on here.
yes,
But I'm so
yes,
glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight. Want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here chatmans.
yes.
Then we have Tips Take in the building. So glad that you decided to hang out with us. It's always a blessing anytime I see you in our chatments anyway. Being that you are an up and coming star, rising celebrity. So glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight. And we want to honor you, acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins.
Yes, we do.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here chatments.
Now hold
And people,
on.
what
Okay.
happened?
No, no, keep going. I'm starting to see some people in these chats that I know. Continue,
Mhm,
continue.
mhm. Eppy Pooh, 80s baby. Mhm. A millennial has stepped into the building. So glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight. Greetings and salutations. And we just want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Welcome to these here chatments.
Yes.
Who else we got here? I'm looking. I'm looking. Hold on. It's time to roll out the red carpet. Y'all should be used to
That's
this
the
by
drum
now.
roll.
My pastor has entered into the building. Some everybody make room. Got to give her a seat at the long table, huh? We just want to
She
acknowledge you
got
as
extra bourbon in her drink.
oh, not extra bourbon. Oh Lord, uh, want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Oh, and then you said I'm the one spiking people punch. Want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Greetings and salutations, and most definitely, welcome to these here chatments. Chat out. There go cousin-in-law. Where you go? You still there, cuz?
Oh, I'm here.
You
I,
gonna
I
introduce the people?
I introduced him a while back. We already
Oh,
touched
you
this.
do.
You behind. We already touched this comment, cuz.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Well, I just want to make sure that I acknowledge you formally, cuz, as one of our honorary cousins and my actual cousin. And so, appreciate your presence tonight as always. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here chapters.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know, some kind of oh, here we go.
Yes. Got got my girl, the illest Oracle. Thank you for showing up tonight. And of course, as you know, we welcome you as our honorary cousin. So glad to have you back. Oh,
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the chatness.
Neck bone, we can't be cousins.
Ne-
Yeah.
I have to be on my best behavior, or at least close to it as possible. Oh my goodness.
Now you see the one I put up here?
Huh?
You see the one I just put up?
I wasn't even looking. What happened?
You see Tamika Fields 7337?
I sure do.
That is our actual blood cousin. She is my first
Hey,
cousin,
cuz.
Mika. She was down there in Memphis with you, but now she coming in from Dallas.
Well, you know how we do. We move around. We get
Yes,
around.
we do. Yes,
Um,
we do. So we got to roll out the red carpet because this
Absolutely roll
we
out
at
the
the
red carpet
end.
for our cousin. Especially being the blood relatives in the building.
Okay.
Um, just want to acknowledge you tonight, not only as our honorary cousin, but as our blood cousin. So glad that you're here. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here chatments.
Yes, yes.
Liz is in the house. So glad that you finally made it here to the actual cousin couch. But so glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight. Want to make sure that we acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here chatments. H
Hey,
Town in the house. Okay.
yes. Oh, we coming from all over the place. I love this.
Yes.
Oh, I see. You're an overcomer.
Okay.
Oh, she
Hey.
is one of our honorary cousins. I know her from my restorative justice cohort.
Oh
Welcome,
wow.
welcome. Yes, she is a beautiful, beautiful spirit and an author. So
Okay.
welcome as
Okay.
our
One of our
honorary cousin.
honorary cousins is an author in here. Well, we most certainly want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins, and greetings and salutations. Welcome to these here chatments. Lord, no, give me that 151.
Want no
Did you
bourbon?
hear? She's not here to play. Hello.
Want no bourbon? She said that's why she had to quit. That's 151. Probably lost brain cells playing with that 151. Oh, hold
This is why I don't partake anymore. Hilarious. Oh my goodness, that is funny.
on. Hold on. You see
Wait,
this?
hold on. The red
Okay.
carpet, the
Hold
blue
on.
carpet, the pink and green carpet
Oh, the
had to
pink
be
and green
rolled.
carpet.
Hello, had to be rolled out for this one. Our
Yeah.
cousin, our blood cousin,
Hold on. This is
another
my
one.
auntie. I don't even know.
Oh,
This
you're
ain't even
right.
my
You
cousin.
know
This is my
what?
whole auntie.
That is your auntie. That's my cousin.
Okay.
Wow. And I'm so elated that you're here tonight. We want to acknowledge you, though you're her aunt, my cousin, and you're our honorary cousin tonight. We just want to make sure that we give you your warm greetings, salutations, and welcome to these here chatments.
Oh, what a beautiful night.
What elevator didn't see it? I know he done said something else crazy.
Everything.
Oh, no, I ain't reading that out loud. Better put all the business up there on the jumbotron. I'm tickled. Oh, Tamika, she's speaking of Janice. Oh, that's just wonderful. So much love. The pink hearts are in the building. So
Yeah,
glad, so glad. Family rolling in. I love this. I know, right? They about to
yeah,
hear the
yeah,
tea
yeah.
tonight. They came in to hear the tea. They
Okay.
came in ready for what we're going to be talking about tonight. What you think
Yes,
about that,
yes,
cuz?
yes. I feel pretty good about it. Every week I get a little bit more courageous. And as y'all have heard me say before, I can't promise this is going to be a safe space, but as my teacher, Dr. Shaniqua Jones, says, it will definitely be a brave space. So if you've been on a healing journey, type the word brave in the chat. If you have been on a journey of bettering yourself, any kind of self improvement, any kind of healing, any kind of growing, evolution, type the word brave in the chat. We're
Absolutely.
getting ready to get brave tonight.
Oh, very brave.
Getting ready to get brave tonight. And we have officially made it to episode 9 of Two Cousins,
Episode
One
9.
Couch. Tonight, we are talking about support or self reliance,
Like I said,
finding
slave.
our way. Okay, now elevated. Don't get yourself in trouble now. Try to behave in front of our auntie,
I know, right?
but you can't get cuffed up. Um, so we can tonight. We're going to explore what we were taught about navigating life as individuals and in community. We're going to distinguish between independence, codependency, and interdependence. We're going to name some survival patterns without blaming or shaming anyone. So we're going to invite some reflection and what we hope to be an inclusive and non judgmental conversation. Y'all know how we do. We just be flowing and going. And so, again, we are here to be brave together. All right. So we're gonna start off just thinking about, what we were taught. A lot of us have done this before. If you're new to this conversation, we just be chilling. We try to keep it a stack. We usually have a few different generations being represented. So we're gonna start off talking about the kind of family you grew up in. So I need to hear from you all, depending on the kind of family you grew up in. Let me know if you grew up in a figure it out yourself family or a we help each other kind of family. Did you grow up in a figure it out yourself family or a we help each other kind of family? Tina, what about you?
I had to figure out who was helping who. That's what I had to do. But there was a combination of seeing that there were some individuals that were able to get help. Right, exactly. A little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Where I saw that there was help available at times, but there was this thing of you got to find out who you can get that help from and don't be surprised about who we can't. And when it comes to who we're talking about as it pertains to family, it could be extended family. It's just whoever
Mm-hmm.
that you're connected to in a way that gives you formulates the idea of this is what they taught me or what I took away from the interaction with your family.
Mm, I get that. And I feel like you hit a good point too, talking about like who, right? Watching who could get the help.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think there's something to be said of that. I'm already kind of assuming with you because I know we're both the oldest.
Mhm.
But I'll ask, in your family, who was allowed to need help and who wasn't?
Oh, growing up, there was always a hierarchy when it came to help. Um,
Mm,
it started with the oldest and it trickled down to the youngest, and then you have the next generation, which is I'm the start of. And so I saw my grandparents. Of course, I saw my parents and how they did things. But for whatever reason, I always saw how um, when it came to help, it would be measured by whether or not they deemed the help worthy. It didn't matter if you asked, but more so about what their idea of you needing help actually was.
Mm,
And sometimes that could be great. They can feel like, they can have your back, they can support you in ways that would be almost unimaginable. On the other hand, when you got one of them good no's, there was just you have to figure it out. I also came across the thing of learning how to figure out how to do things on my own, especially being the oldest sibling.
mm,
And so when it came to my mother taught us, make me your last resort. And
mm,
so that last resort thing, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how am I going to get from point A to point B? How can I make ends meet depending on what I'm trying to do? It could be something that I want to do at school, could be something I'm trying to do at church, or just whatever it is, whatever activity. I would always try to make sure that I exhausted all of my other resources till I got to the point where I've hit a wall, I've tried everything. Now it's time to go to my mother.
mm. I'm reading these Chapmans, and it seems like what you experienced was similar to some people in our chats. Like, yep, I'm looking at what the Illust Oracle says. The type of help dictated the level of help. I'm looking
Hmm.
at what Janice said. Oh, I lost it. She grew up in a figure it out for yourself type of family.
Right.
Elevated Chills was asking, are we talking immediate family?
Mhm.
I think, to be clear, whatever you think of when you think about family and support. So if that's immediate for you, cool. If that's, a little more extended or chosen, you know,
Mhm.
you have the freedom to choose who you want to talk about.
Mhm.
Because I know everybody's not necessarily raised by their immediate family. And I know
Right.
everybody doesn't have the same level of closeness with their immediate family.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I think about. When you're younger, you just have who you grew up with. But when
Mm-hmm.
you get older, you begin to choose who you want in your life and to
Yep.
what capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you have that, you tend to lean more towards what's going to be best for me. At least once you mature, because at some point, every friend is a sister and a brother until you figure out they're not sistering and they're not brothering, not to you. And so once you get to that stage where you begin to truncate your circle, and not have us diluted with so many different people, you begin to see, okay, who's really for me and in what capacity.
Yep.
um because when it comes down to those types of relationships, especially that friendship sister or brother type deal, um they generally tend to be you tend to be closer to those that are on the outside sometimes than you do when it comes to your actual blood relatives. I find myself nowadays just trying to get to know my blood relatives versus I know a lot more about people that are on the outside.
I think you're bringing up a great point, because I grew up distant from a lot of my family
Hmm.
because my parents were in the military. So we never lived in the same city with our family, even with my
Right.
siblings. I have siblings from my dad's second marriage. We've never lived in the same city, definitely
Mm.
never grew up under the same roof. And so I can totally relate to what you're saying about, getting to know a lot of my family at this age. But I have a question for the people um, who have found themselves leaning more on self-reliance. If you grew up in a figure it out yourself family, or if you grew up in a family where, you know, maybe maybe you were told you could get help, but maybe when you went to get help, things got kind of interesting, and maybe you felt like, I need to figure this out on my own. What happened? Like, when did you find yourself, and when I say when, like, what age, if you can remember, around what age do you remember when you started to feel like, oh, I got to figure this out on my own?
I know I went into panic mode.
Mm.
I went straight into panic mode. I remember being told, which is, I think, it was a common theme. Um, Back in the day, where your parent would tell you, when you get grown, you got to get out. You know, Now I know that's not the dynamic of everyone's household, but there was a thing where if you turn 18, or if you haven't finished school, I mean, or if you have finished school, it's time for you to get ready, pack your bags, and live out there on your own. You about to get kicked out of the nest, so to
Mhm.
speak. And I remember thinking about that, and I just had all of these reeling thoughts of, I don't know how I'm gonna make this happen. I need to go try to find a job. I need to go and try to do this and do that. And I went into a full fledged panic. So I was in my late teens, I think, when it hit me. I really got to get it together. And so, I was on the hunt for jobs and things of that nature. Because that was my initial response. Till I wigged out, and went to prison. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. If any of our mods can help us out just to clean out some of the not so family like visitors, we just, if you could help us out with that, that would be wonderful. Um,
Yeah, I know
well,
Danielle is a mod and Yolanda is a mod, but I don't know where they are or if they're in the same. Um, let's get rid of him right quick in these
okay,
enchantments
funny.
because I'm not
All
playing.
right. I I could say so. I didn't grow up in a household where it was when you get older you have to get out. I actually grew up in a household where it was encouraged that I ask for help. However, and if anybody can relate to this, oftentimes when I would ask for the help, the kind of help that came my way was so abrasive, so stressful,
Hmm.
that I often learned, if I don't want to go through all those changes to get the help, maybe I should just figure it out on my own. And in that, I would create even bigger messes for myself because I really did need help.
Let me tell you something. Been there, done that. I think I got the T-shirt and the hoodie and the hat to go with it. We have a visitor. I just want to make sure that we acknowledge Miss Virgo 86. I mean Miss 86 Virgo, I'm sorry. Miss Virgo, I'm so glad that you decided to stop by, hang out with us pair of seconds. Greetings and salutations. We want to acknowledge you in the space as one of our honorary cousins. We're glad that you
Yes.
came in. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Chapman.
Welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here. Oh,
I also want to acknowledge what Danielle said. That is a good point. Your nuclear family has a view of you that has formed over time, versus the family you create sometimes gets the curated version produced by that nuclear family. I'm gonna get it together tonight. Whew.
okay. Yep. And I see Janice Hudson said she found out she found out she was on her own when it came
Hmm.
time to complete college applications and the FAFSA.
Hmm. I can understand that right there.
Yes, especially if you have parents who are much older and didn't even have those kinds of options.
Hmm. Exactly. I was told that, but at the same time, my mom still didn't do it. She still really wants us to stay. I can understand that. Don't want
Yeah.
you to go nowhere. Tell you they're gonna put you out and then be like, "Where are you going?"
Yeah.
Epipu said, "Yes. Sometimes in figuring things out myself, I dug a bigger hole without proper guidance." Let me tell you now, that's that
Mhm.
thing, and it's amazing to me because I know the heart is, I want you to become independent. I
Mhm.
know that that's the heart of it, but you're talking about years later understanding how the brain isn't developed, and there are
Okay.
things that you can't tell kids or young adults when they have not formulated all of what they need mentally, or emotionally. In some, once you're frantic and you start trying to make decisions based out of fear, you're making some of the worst decisions ever. Then you know
The worst.
the worst. Whew. Oh, I understand. We be here. That's all I can tell you. It's every other Sunday, though. It's not every Sunday. It's every other Sunday. So you may have been looking for us at a time when we weren't live. Danielle said I
Mm.
had to figure it out. Family, especially if the help was inconvenient to give. Independence over interdependence. Asking for help was shameful.
Painful. Let's pause there for a second
Oh
because I
yes.
know in a lot of families, especially if you're coming from Gen X and even some of the millennials,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times independence was impressed upon us. Like I know I grew up during the time of latchkey kids, you
Mm-hmm.
know, where your parents weren't home when you got out of school, so you had to have a key around your neck or in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You had to let yourself in the house and get yourself together and handle
Right.
things at a very young age. I'd ride my bike 10, 15 minutes to and from school. And I think my generation and I would say the people from Gen X and the millennials, we were oftentimes praised for not needing anyone, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was it was like a good thing uh, when our parents felt like, oh, they're handling things on their own. Now, it didn't necessarily mean we were responsible enough to handle all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Many of
Right.
us were adultified, right? If you were quiet at the
Mm-hmm.
right times, people will look at you like you're mature. But
Absolutely.
but who grew up being praised for not needing anyone?
Now that's the thing, which was a double-edged sword in that
Hello.
um, independence was praised. Independence came with accolades. Oh, she
Mhm.
got it together. She could do it by herself. And it starts when you're younger. Oh,
Yep.
you a big girl. You made your own peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yep.
Oh, you was able to cook some rice. That's you're doing everything. And they were like, good. You just go on out there and pay the bill. Go talk to the mailman. Talk to the pool guy or whoever it is that you need
Run to the store and buy
to
my
speak.
cigarettes. Wait.
Come on. I have bought cigarettes at, how young was I? About 4 or 5 years old. And I think I might have bought another pack when I was 8. I think was the last time I bought some cigarettes
Yeah.
for my grandfather who smoked. And not on this side of the family, but on my father's side. Because he didn't smoke. But I got sent to the store and said, tell them to give me some, I think it was some Virginia Slims or something, Carlton 100s. Who knows? It was one of them long cigarettes from back in the day, Carlton 120s. I got sent to the store to get those cigarettes and I was scared because I felt
Mhm.
like I wasn't old enough to get them. When I tell
Mhm.
you that man slid them cigarettes over there like it wasn't nothing.
Mhm.
And I guess they knew I wasn't smoking them. So and I ain't had no money, I didn't look like I was rich. So he figured that I was getting them for a parent, but he never even asked,
No,
who was
nobody
I
asked.
getting them for? They didn't care. They was like, oh, cigarettes, what kind? You want them in a pack or, whatever. And they just give it to you. That's wild.
Let's catch up with these chat.
Yes, indeed. Let me go back to um Yolanda said things started to separate for me at early teens and then 18 years old, you had to go.
Oh, you're older, so you got to go. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Miss Virgo said, thank you for letting me know. I will try to be coming in more. Love to talk. So I'm so glad you enjoying it.
That's right. We're so happy to have you here.
Mm-hmm. You
And Illust Oracle says, definitely resonate with the shame of asking for help, especially anything that had to do with money.
mm-hmm.
This is the
But
conversation
ooh,
that influenced today's topic, Tina.
yes, yes.
Care to share?
It just made me realize something. We, I believe, came up in a shame culture.
Mm,
And because of that shame of not wanting to say, I can't, or I don't have it, or it's going to be a sacrifice if I do. They tell you, figure it out. You go get it. You try to get it. You do such and such. Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of times they didn't. There were some circumstances, and that's not the everyone's story. Because you got some people that if they wanted it, they could get it. But when it comes down to the kind of support that you needed, it's not just monetary. Sometimes it's emotional.
Hmm.
They don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to support you emotionally. And so, with in
Absolutely.
the areas they're devoid, if you're crying, you could get a whooping for crying.
Oh yeah.
So all of that would teach you to make sure you got yourself together. But it
Yep.
was all attached to something that the parent could not do.
Yep. Yep. Because they didn't know what to do with their emotions about your emotions. So now your emotions just need to stop.
Ooh, they just said, right. People be like, you are such a good cook. Yes, I have been making my own food since I was 5.
Yeah, you're a chef at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
so we start off with talking about people who grew up in homes where they were independent, right? That I can do this on my own. People, the
Mm-hmm.
people who focus on strength, autonomy, capability, and what are some things? Oh, just Danielle said, right. It was praised and expected. You ain't lived till you got the cigarettes from the corner store, Benson Hedges Gold.
And Benson and Hedges. I
I was get,
remember those.
I was getting the Cools and the Newports.
So much I wish. This is Epic Pooh. She said, so much I wish I would have had the proper guidance, with especially not having my mom around in my
Mm,
life from 10 years old into adulthood and being raised by a single dad and my grandmother. I definitely understand that.
yes.
To me, it was a Virginia Slim, menthol
Oh,
like 120s. I guess all of y'all went and go pick up them cigarettes. The illest oracle said, "Yep, on the Independence Awards. Don't be the oldest and gotta take care of younger siblings. You, the Independence class, real early.
yep.
Absolutely." Hmm.
Uh,
Ernest Johnson said, "My mom cried when I left the house." Mm. And Tamika said her mom smoked those. I was able to buy cigarettes at the age of 8. My granddad called and he had them ready with what he called an Eskimo pie.
not the Camel, non-menthols.
Oh, not the camels. Oh, that was rough. And coming up under the silent generation, the
Hmm.
lack of communication made you leery of asking.
Oh, let's stop
Mm,
there for a second.
mhm,
I feel like that's such a good point to bring up, right? Because the people who
mhm,
grew up under the silent generation, right? The kids should be
mhm,
seen and not heard generation. They didn't talk. They did not talk to adults. Adults did not talk to them, right? They got talked
mhm,
at, and that was it. And
mhm.
then we grew up, I know my generation grew up under the children of the silent generation.
Right.
And I was
The
just thinking about, were you going to say something, cuz?
Now I was just thinking about the generations. You had the silent, the boomers, Gen X, then millennials,
Right? And I'm kind of on the cusp between Gen X and millennial.
which
And
is a zillennial.
okay, growing
Mhm,
up under the baby boomers who had parents who didn't really talk, I grew up with parents who weren't used to being able to talk to their elders, so they had no idea what to do with me
mhm,
coming in with so much to say, right?
mhm.
So even what you were talking about, right? Like Yolanda's talking about, I'll give you something to cry about. They
Whew.
never even had a chance to practice interacting with elders, so they had
No,
no idea what to do with us.
mm-mm, no, and that's something that I was considered disrespectful
Oh yeah.
when I was younger by some people. Not everyone. When it came to outside, because I've been opinionated a long time. I've had a bunch of questions for a very long time, and I've been talking ever since I was very, very little. And so it would be one of those things where I'm in a conversation, but I'm the oldest. The other kids are playing. I'm hanging around the older adults, which could be aunts or uncles or what have you, but they're not that far in age from me. And so I would pick up on certain lingo. I would sound like them. And because of that, other people on the outside would look at me and be like, oh, she's disrespectful. I'm like, no, I ain't had nobody to play with. I was the oldest. And so, of course, my sister is only a year and a half younger than me, but we're so far apart. We're
Yeah.
so different. Um, because I had this thing where I preferred hanging around older people because that's what I gravitated to. Well, because of that, though, it created a conflict of interest as it pertained to some of the adults who said I was too mouthy. I had too much to
Mhm.
say. I was in grown folks' business,
Yep.
and all of that was just because they didn't know how to communicate things with me, or just sit down and talk to me. You know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. They
Uh,
never seen it.
The illest oracle said, "See, this why Tita play too much. Emotional support was what I had to figure out on my own. Then I had older people coming to me for guidance in my twenties. I had that same thing happen to me.
I feel like so I wanted to close out the independence chapter and move into the codependence chapter of the conversation
Mm,
because I feel like that's where the illest oracle is taking us, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Because I grew up early on being forced into independence, right? Being forced to be growner than I was,
mm-hmm.
um, and then also being punished for it, as we're talking about. But I
Right.
think that's like there's a pipeline from the independent or mature child into the codependent child
Mm-hmm,
where now because you allowed you were put in a position to have to be more grown up than you were put in a position to have to care more for the adults around you than what they
mm-hmm,
had the bandwidth to give to you. Now
mm-hmm,
you're in this situation where, like the illust oracle was saying, we got older in our teenage years and the adults are coming to us for help.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this is the thing about the way my life was set up growing up. We had several generations. It was my responsibility to spend some summers with my great grandmother who had had a stroke on one of them sides of her body. I don't remember because I always get the side wrong, so I ain't gonna name it. But I just remember her having one side of her body completely paralyzed,
Mm,
and I would have to stay with her. And the things that I had to do as it pertains to giving her, helping her in the shower, helping her put her clothes on, cooking, and all of that. I was very, very young, very, very young, and
mm,
I remember thinking that it felt like punishment to me.
yep.
But I was responsible for so much, including watching out for my little sister at the time, who was
Mhm,
able to go out and play while I'm doing all the washing and the scrubbing and the cooking and everything that my great grandmother wanted me to do. And so
yep.
I think about that, that when now that I'm older, I think to how I have the ability to communicate with the silent generation that is left because it's not a lot of them. The silent
Mhm,
generation, I have the ability to communicate with the boomer. I have the ability to, of course, with those in the same class as me with Gen X, and then with millennials and Gen Z, because
mhm,
not only did I have to deal with my great grandparents, but I also had to deal with my sister's kids, and so that was one of those things where you had to find a way to become almost multilingual
yep.
to be able to communicate what was necessary because it was always my responsibility.
Yep. Yep.
The illest oracle said, "My mom, a boomer, is now being taught by her granddaughter, my baby, on how to communicate with children without shutting the child down."
I think a lot of the baby boomers are learning that.
Yes, yes. And it's not easy for them. I know it's not easy for them,
Mm,
especially with how they were raised by the silent generation.
yeah,
Because they spoke in smacks. You know what I'm saying?
that's it.
And wax,
Nice and
and
wet,
shut up
baby.
and you better not cry. That was them,
And
back in
worse.
the. Oh yes.
My dad had a pew pew pulled out on him by his daddy. So I mean, it got
Hey,
wild.
they was wilding. But you're talking about a generation once removed from slavery. So can I mean, I can't be surprised,
No, not at all.
And while that may not be everyone's story, I do know the history of our family. You
Yep,
can trace it back to those roots.
you absolutely can.
Miss Virgo said I was just a child who was going to say what I wanted or ask whenever I wanted. I just would take the whooping and keep asking. Child, I wasn't getting no whooping.
See, that was
Mm-mm.
me once I got about 12 and realized I was going to get hit anyway. That's
Mm.
when I just was like, well, I'm going to say what I got to say. I don't
Oh,
give a
my
fuck at this
sister is
point.
just like that. Well, that's also why I became rather sneaky. I
Hmm.
didn't want the whooping. I didn't get many either because I always found a way to either pin it on my sister, which she don't like that to this day. But either I found a way to pin it on my younger sibling, or I found a way to do it in such a way where the finger wouldn't be pointed my direction, or they didn't know. And so, if I would get a no, or if I knew I was going to get a no, I would find a yes another way.
Nah, baby, I was getting that WWE treatment. Um, great
Miss
grandson.
Wanda's here.
Ah, hello, let's roll out the red carpet. Let's get my drum roll. We have my spiritual mother, my EI, Miss Wanda Blake. Welcome to the Chapmans. And of course, you are our honorary cousin.
Absolutely.
Liz.
Welcome to the Chapman's. Greetings and salutations.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, you see what? Well, where you at, cuz? Because I don't want to get ahead of you.
Oh, I'm down here at the good evening. What happened?
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I catch up with everybody's. Um, I see Miss 86 Virgo.
Mm-hmm. Talking
I
about the
didn't
great great
feel,
grands.
no, I didn't feel as if it was, there it is. I didn't feel as if it was punishment. I enjoyed going because I used to love hearing about their life and history. Oh, hanging out with
Mm.
the elders. No, I always loved hanging out with the elders. Even,
Yes.
even my late grandfather, who died about a year ago at the age of 96, when I was
Mm-hmm.
a kid, I would sit in the living room and just argue with him for hours about
Mm-hmm.
everything. You know what I mean? Because he liked to debate. He taught me how to debate. And I'd be
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, 7, 8 years old just arguing this old man down about everything. I always love sitting around the elders. Oh,
Mm.
Janice Hudson says, my grandbaby got me in school. I know that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, these new babies came to teach us.
And you know what? It's something else because in everyone learning, you're learning from a different space, a different mindset.
Mhm.
You're learning with your heart instead of just with your logic or what you've been taught. You're learning to slow down. You're learning to feel again. Because a lot of times, especially when you have children, you just want them to do the right thing. But at some point, you come to a place where you remember who you were.
Yeah,
You remember that I was a kid too at some point. And what would I have done or how would I have felt if I had experienced what that child has experienced? If I
yeah,
had gone through what that child has gone through. And we can put ourselves in so many different I do the same thing as it pertains to my grandparents, my parents. There were things that, my mother and father were rather young when they had me. Um and so I think back to them, like all the things that I wanted them to do, or my aunts and that's another. Oh my goodness, the kind of expectation that I had on my aunts and uncles as it pertains to support, but they weren't but a few years older than me. So
okay.
I'm looking at them like they should be doing like grandparents or my parents. at the time when they were just a little bit, they was a little bit younger than my parents and a little bit older than me. They smack
Yeah.
dab in the middle. I couldn't expect for them. They still wearing pigtails. I just happened to be little.
Mm,
I'm watching them graduate and stuff, and
yeah.
I'm in school. So I think about stuff like that. I'm like, wow, I hadn't could, but I didn't know that when I was a kid.
Yep.
But it takes, taking the time to say, hey, what was my mindset at 20? What was my mindset at 30? What was my mindset by the time I turned 40? And once you start thinking about how things were when you were that kid, or you begin to think about what history is attached to these grandparents of mine,
Yeah.
or great grandparents, what did they go through? And how did that affect them? And it allows you to apply a grace that you wouldn't have had before.
You ain't never lied. And when I really
Mhm.
think about it, in some ways I was forced to grow up fast. In other ways, I was extremely protected, right? I was sheltered from so many things. And when I look at who I am now as an adult, there's so much. I don't feel like an adult, y'all. You know how they be like, we can't be the new adults?
Mhm.
I feel that because I don't think I officially, it didn't even hit me until I got around 40. Like, oh, wow, I'm a grown woman. The whole
Mhm.
time I had been claiming it, but I really wasn't feeling it.
Mhm.
I really wasn't. Oh, I'm looking, I see what blessed life, 96 years old. I know, right? I share. Yeah, it
Mhm.
says just learning to be open to hear them. I
Mhm.
feel like the younger, especially these pandemic babies, I
Mhm.
feel like they are here to teach us the art of intergenerational connection over
Mhm.
correction. Because I feel like the generations before, they cared so much about correction because everything was about fear, right?
Mhm.
I got to protect you from
Right.
this, so I got to correct you all the time.
Right.
Whereas now these young ones, they're like, no, like you said, feel, get into the heart space, connect with me, care
Right.
about me. I look at my little niece, I mean my little cousin, who is one of the grandkids that my auntie is talking about. And
Mhm.
she does stuff that I just never could imagine. She'll do this little funky cartwheel, right? And
Mhm.
it's cool, you know what I mean? It's just that we've seen it like 90 million times, right? It ain't turned into nothing but that same dusty cartwheel. But when she does the cartwheel, she's gonna make sure that everybody in the room claps for her. And she'll say,
Mhm.
clap for me, everybody. She gonna stop. And if you were, looking at your phone or something, she'll call you out, goes, hey, you didn't clap for me.
Mhm.
And I remember like the first time I heard her do that, I was in shock because I
Mhm.
didn't even know that was on the menu. Like as a
Right.
child, I didn't even know I could have done that. So I'm learning even now, right, to ask for the kind of emotional support that I want and need. But
Mhm.
I'm in my 40s and she already got that going on and she ain't even 10.
I mean, and even I must admit that I needed other people, you being one of those, that will call me into my feelings. How
Mm,
do I feel? What
mhm,
am I feeling in this moment?
mhm.
Danielle is good with that. If I'm talking with her, she say, she'll ask me how am I doing, but she also asks me, how am I feeling in the moment? And a lot of times it's easy to bypass the feeling because I'm just trying to get on to the next thing. I'm just trying to, oh, okay, I'm fine. Well, da 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 da, we finna do such and such and so and so. And it's like, whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa, don't just scoot past that. What's going on?
Right.
Why are you so quick to jump over that like it's a hurdle or something? Your feelings are valid, and let's make space for them. And it's been language like that that has allowed me to tap into some things and allowed me to walk through uh, vulnerability from a different perspective.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that I acknowledge Micah, who has come into the building. Greetings and salutations. We're so glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight.
Thank
We
you.
want to make sure that we acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins in this space tonight. Welcome to the Chapmans.
Yes. Hello, cousin.
That's what I'm saying. Hmm.
So when I think about codependency, right? Because we hit the independence, then we learned some of us had to do a lot of work
Mhm.
being of service to people in the family. And when I think of codependency, I think the simplest way of describing it is this idea that I need you to be okay so I can
Mhm.
be okay, right?
Mhm.
And some of
Mhm.
us who had to take care of siblings early or who had to take care of elders early, I know I had to take care of my mom early in life.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's easy to learn that your worth is it depends on how helpful you are, how much other
Yes.
people can benefit from you. And before you
Oh.
know it, something that may have been very noble can become
Mhm.
a, I have to do this.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I don't matter. Who
Mhm.
in here, type a one in the chat if you have ever been in that predicament where you felt like, I need you to be okay so that I can be okay. I would definitely type my one because
Let me tell you something. I had to type out one while you was talking. Let me be the first to admit that this is still a struggle for me to this very day. And I say that because um, I'm thankful for the people in my life who let me know that they care about me beyond what I can do, that they just see me as a person. It helps to keep me grounded
yeah,
because a lot of times my identity is wrapped up in what I can do with excellence,
yep,
what I can do with precision, what I can do in abundance, what I can do, and it's not about facets of grandeur or anything like that. I ain't trying to be all that in the bag of chips. I just wanted things to be done in a way where I could say, okay, you're able to benefit from this. I'm
yep,
giving to you a service that you can actually use and not just throwing something in your lap. And because I'm like that, when I can't do something, it attacks my ego.
hmm,
When I can't, or if I don't know how to do something, or if
yep,
I'm unable to do something,
yep,
it has a tendency to eat away at me because I feel like I should be able. I have done this before. I should be able to do it again, but for whatever reason, whether that be health wise, because the Lord knows my back be doing whatever it be doing, or it's one of those things of I've come to a barrier in another facet of my life, and so sometimes just because I can do something don't mean that I should do something. But I still feel guilty about the fact that I didn't do it.
yep, yep. Because I think that's how the codependent relationships work, right? Especially if you
Mhm.
get groomed into that early in the family. There's one
Mhm.
person who has to play the role of giver, and then there's somebody who has to play the role of receiver. Somebody needs, somebody has, right?
Mhm.
And and if you're the person who is the giver, if you're the person who has, you're the person who's
Mhm.
over functioning. The weird thing is, it's you still play the role of independent. You're not independent, right?
Mhm.
You're only
Right.
independent in writing.
Mhm.
But you literally need to have someone to take care of.
Mhm.
And then tell me this: who did you feel safe asking for support from? Oh, before we get into that, we want to say hi to Brendan of Palm Beach.
Yes, my good old buddy, old pal, Brandon of Palm Beach is in the building. We're so glad that you decided to hang out with us tonight. Greetings and salutations. We want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins in this
Mhm.
space tonight. We're so glad that you decided to hang out with us a pair of seconds. And welcome to the chat, Miss Brandon.
Yes, yes, yes. I just got a text from You Are an Overcomer. She just wants to let us know she's here. She's not sure if what she's saying is showing up in the chat or not, but we acknowledge you. We see you. You are our honorary
Absolutely.
cousin. We're so happy to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes, indeed.
so Tina, growing up, who did you feel safe asking for support? Okay, same.
I mean, now, and this is the thing about that. Growing up with the mindset of number one, making my mother my last resort. I always put the pressure on myself.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna have to get it how I live. And that mindset without having the proper anchor to what's right, without having the proper anchor to just not hurting your fellow man or not taking something that doesn't belong to you, was one of those things that was missing in my life. Because I felt a lot of times I felt like um, I don't know if I can say it was entitlement. I can't say that it was. However, I understood the thing of, or at least some point, I understood that no one owes you anything.
Yeah.
But while you don't owe me anything, I still need help. And so my thing was, if I'm going to take on the responsibility, if I'm going to wear it like a coat and face the world and do whatever is necessary, because I didn't have the right mindset at the time, I can't tell you that I really felt safe in that area. Now, did I ask some people? Yes, absolutely. I had a grandmother, my mother, um, and then there was a lot of folks that just didn't have it. I
Yep.
ain't asking them because they ain't got it. On the other hand, it would be a thing of how many more people are asking the people that I'm asking. So I need to find another route, you know.
Yep.
And so when you're bombarded with the thoughts of, um, even if I did get what asked for what I wanted, it would never be the exact amount of what I needed. It might be some, but not the entire amount. And I would have to try to come up with whatever percentage I could to match up or meet whatever was given to me. And so there will be the things where I'm like, look, I will get to a place where I'm not depending on none of y'all, and I just do what I do, and eventually that's the space I got to. You know,
Yep. I totally get that. Man, I, I feel like I couldn't word that any better. And I put some questions in there for our independent people and for our codependent people who were groomed into codependency. You know, what did it cost you to be independent? What did it cost you to go the codependent route? I see Britt Family Fun was saying it almost cost her life more than once. I see Brandon of Palm Beach saying it almost cost him his family and his freedom. I know it's almost cost me my life. It's cost me friendships. It's cost me family relationships. It has cost me my mental health many times.
I mean, oh Lord, oh Jesus, wasn't expecting this. It's one of those things where sometimes, depending on what you're experiencing, sometimes the thought of I can't get what I need from the people that I need it from, or the people that I try to depend on. If I can't get it from there, then my thing is I have to fight hopelessness. So
Mm,
independence sometimes costs me coming to a place where now I'm wrestling with hopelessness because I don't have anyone willing to pour into me the value of what I say I need, because it would be basic need. Not just I'm just trying to go out here, party and kick the bobos or whatever, because I learned how to do that at some point. But it was one of those things of, if I can't get what I need in this moment, then who cares about me? So there would be a fight. That independence would cost me hopelessness. It would cost me uh, internally, it would cost me my relationships with my family because I was holding grudges against them for what they would not do. I would be angry, I would be upset because I'm like, I could see it done in other spaces and other places because they were deemed more worthy. Like the whole idea of, I don't have children, it's just me, I should be okay, whereas this person has children, they need more help. you know. And so I would have to wrestle with one of those type of situations sometimes where it's like you giving them everything. I'm like, I'm not asking you for a whole lot, at least to my understanding or from my purview. And so I think that was one of those things I had to deal with it at when I was younger, especially.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate. It took me. I'll be really honest. I want to say maybe about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we were in a pandemic, and I remember I was reading. I was in a spiritual group with some women, and we were reading this book together. Um, and in the book, it was they were asking something about family and asking for help. And I
Hmm.
remember saying, "Oh, I'm not really much of a family person. I don't really have any family that I could go to for that, right?" And my friend called me out on it. And
Hmm.
I was and she was like, "No, I'm sure you got somebody you can go to." And I remember at that moment I started crying because I really believed that I didn't. And that was like the big shift for me because life, make a long story longer, life just kind of took me in a direction where I was kind of forced to start changing my mindset around family and to start forcing myself to have real conversations with family. But man, I remember I felt like I really felt like an orphan. Like when my parents passed away, I
Hmm.
really didn't feel like I had anybody.
Hmm. It's something, and I'm gonna go back and read the other comments, but it's something
Mhm.
that she said that stood out to me. She said, "It definitely cost me my authentic self."
Yes. And I think Brit Family Fun said it cost her integrity.
Integrity. Let me tell you something.
Woo.
Oh my lamb chops! I feel
Oh,
like I'm about to tell it.
let's go.
Um, one thing that I could say that because I've experienced both as it pertains to independence and codependency,
Yep.
that codependency wasn't necessarily with family. That
Mhm.
codependency came with when in my in my way of independence from family, I ran into trouble.
Yep.
And so I understand when Brit, I'm calling her Brit Family Fun. Yolanda said integrity. I exchanged my integrity for that codependency,
Yep.
you know. And this is a family show. I ain't gonna say all. You have to check some of my content, and you get the story. But that's the thing about it. When you're willing to involve yourself in so many things just to maintain the illusion of independence, because you
Yep.
still have to find a way to get that help. Now I do get the whole thing of you out here and you working 7 jobs and whatnot. I
Yep.
wasn't working 7 jobs. I was slanging whatever I could slang, out here. If you know what slanging is, then you know what I'm talking about. And convincing other individuals to slang what they had for me. And so in doing things like that, it corrodes you internally because you don't continue to be who you were at first. Like Danielle said, it cost me my authentic self because
Yep.
who I started as was not who I ended up being
No.
in my form of independence. Quote in quotation marks.
Yeah, because I feel like that's what those roles do to us, right? And you don't even realize you're playing the role because you're just so used to playing it, you start to identify as that. And before you know it, you're just out here just doing things. You're following a script, but you didn't even
Hmm.
write it.
Hmm. Brandon of Palm Beach asked me, and I haven't forgot y'all's comments. I'm going back to them. Brandon said, Tina, you mentioned before that you've been around alcoholics, and I was wondering if you wanted to share a little bit more. If not, that's okay. I can give you a quick story. My grandfather, not the one of which my cousin and I share the same tree, but on my father's side, my paternal grandfather was an alcoholic. Now, it's some people that say that's debatable. I'm like, I know what I saw. He would drink. He would get off work and he would drink until he passed out. He'll be drinking in the kitchen and he would pass out, from drinking. Once he wakes up, he will wake up violent and fighting. And he there was an incident where he ended up cutting my father across his chest to the point where he was bleeding, and he ended up assaulting no, not an essay, but he assaulted my paternal grandmother, which was his wife. And so when it comes to being in that kind of environment, all of them drank at the time. I didn't know it, but because my father never drank anything in front of me. But at the time, all of them had some alcoholic tendencies and behaviors. And because of that, I was able to see a whole lot when I was younger. And so and not to mention, I have some other things somewhere down the line, but that's the earliest part that I could tell you that I've been around those type of things. Let me go back to some of these comments. Okay. I always dealt with what I could, and if I was to the last of it, I would call my mom. Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah,
Um,
I can
almost
relate to
cost me
that
my
too.
life more than once. Yolanda said, okay, I've read all of that. Call self-authentic self. Self-reliance costs me learning to actually trust my genius.
Mhm. Did you read
Mm.
what Mrs. 86 Virgo said about independence costing the mental, family, and
Ooh,
communication?
independence has cost me mental, family, and communication. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That whole mindset of pull yourself up by the bootstraps is a farce.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lie straight from the pit of hell.
It really is.
Hmm. Casey, the one, I see you. I appreciate your presence. Want to acknowledge you as one of our honorary cousins. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to these here chatments.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, honorary cousin.
Um, my independence and my codependency sometimes bump heads,
Yep,
at the same time, which caused me to shut out and down and depend on myself.
yep.
Yes. That's
I
what
can
I was
relate.
just talking about. I was just talking about that illusion of independence
Yep.
will cost you codependency. You walk right into it. It's like one door leads into the other. That is no more than how I describe pride. Pride is no more than a blanket for insecurity. You
Yep.
pull back the pride, you're going to see some insecurity somewhere.
Yep. The illusion. I love
The
that you said
illusion.
that.
Hmm.
So we talked about independence and codependence. Now let's get into interdependence. Interdependence, where we're saying I can stand on my own and still choose connection. This is where we're looking at mutual support without self abandonment.
Hmm.
We're giving and receiving without obligation or control. So I have a question for us, and you don't have to answer this in the chatments if you'd rather just reflect on this, but you can if you're feeling brave. Do you lean more independent, codependent, or interdependent? Do you lean more independent, codependent, or interdependent? Oh, she did her
Cousin said,
part.
I'm checking out. Love y'all. I will definitely tune in next time. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation on the couch.
Mwah.
So
We love you, cuz.
love you too, cuz.
Y'all say goodnight to my real cousin. That's my cousin Mika. We love her so much. Um,
As of right now, independent because people left me no choice.
understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Independent. I find myself in the space of learning how to be interdependent.
Yeah.
Because I've done the independent thing, which land me with a whole sentence in prison. And then I have the thing of the codependency, which was my whole life was centered around someone and what they could do for me or what they could provide for me in order for to sustain myself. Um, so I wouldn't have to ask for anything or much from family. So
Yeah.
I ended up experiencing that as well.
Mm,
Um, and so now when it comes to interdependence, um, my family is made up of people that not only that I can lean on, but I can pour back into. It must be reciprocal in nature. Now, I do have my thing of, because I am a caregiver. And so in that, sometimes they're not going to be able to for whatever reason. Um, and that is just, an obligation. But when it comes to those that I've chosen to be my family, it's different. It's very different. Um, I'm looking for those that I connect to pour into me. And I, in return, pour into them. And it not be a thing of, oh, you did this for me, so I got to do this for you. Or you did this for me, now I'm obligated to do something for you. But more so the exchange of um, we're partnering to be there for one another as much as we can, as
Yeah.
much as it is feasible for us to be. Because with my family, we have permission to say no.
Um,
Brandon of Palm Beach said, I was 16 years old when I moved out of my house because I wanted to be independent. Went to jail and didn't even call my parents. My friend didn't, because I was trying to deal with it myself. He didn't call his family or friends. Lord have mercy. Oh, I understand.
okay. I see. Let me
Independent.
go back again because I see a few people saying they understand independence, they understand codependency, but they don't understand interdependence. So again, if independence says I can do this on my own, right?
Hmm.
Valuing strength, autonomy, capability. Codependency is I need you to be okay so I can be okay, right? Which looks
Hmm.
like overgiving and overfunctioning, losing yourself in order to maintain the connection. And then interdependence says I can stand on my own and still choose connection.
Hmm.
Interdependence looks like mutual support without self abandonment. It means giving and receiving without obligation or control. So let me know, type a two in the chat if that makes sense, if you understand what we mean when we're using the word interdependent. Type the two in the chat. Good night, Brandon of Palm Beach. We enjoy having you here.
I honestly don't still understand interdependent. I can understand independent and codependent 100%. And I can see it in people, but I don't understand what you mean by interdependence. Check this out, Brandon. Let me break it down if you're still here. When it comes into interdependence, it's like having a partnership or like a business. You have someone that is putting in just as much sweat equity. Like, if I'm not mistaken, you cook, you're a chef. You have someone that's there. If you're the sous chef, then you need a wheel. You need somebody that's going to be willing to call out the orders or to let you know what needs to be done. You're giving out um, your different um, orders of what needs to be done in order for the order to be made or to complete the order. And so you might tell one person to get on the fries or whatever it is you're cooking, or you get on the potatoes, or you get on the broccoli, or whatever it is that you're making at that time. And so what happens is when it comes to interdependence, you have a job, and the people that you're around or you're connected to have a job. And what happens is you all come together collectively to make a thing happen. You're not trying to put too much on the other person. The other person isn't trying to put too much on you. But what y'all decide to do is come together for one goal, which is to see each other through the one uh or to have the mindset to make sure that everyone is involved in the thing that you're trying to do, or the thing that you're trying to accomplish. That can be if you have a family, if you have a wife and the children. Interdependence looks like that wife is supporting you. She's making your lunch when you go to work. When you come home, you're able to talk to her about her day. She's able to talk to you and discuss with you the things that she has experienced. And when you have somebody passes in your family, that interdependence looks like they're there for you. They come in and they support you. Or on the other end, something happens with them, they break their leg, and you make sure you're the one that takes them to the hospital. That's interdependence. It's an exchange that's involved. But it's not no, oh, you better be there or you supposed to be there. But it's a thing of we're volunteering to be in the same space with one another to make sure that everyone is okay. Hmm. I know he said he's several minutes behind and he don't want to miss it, but that's okay.
Okay. I would say, as a person who has,
I know that's right, KC the one. Sure can apply on a spiritual level also. I was saying 2 minutes behind. It's okay, Brandon. It is okay. I understand. Hmm. What were you about to say, cuz? I'm sorry about that.
I was going to say, I know for me growing up, in some ways being forced into independence, and other ways being groomed into being more codependent. I know that those are temptations that can always be right there, right?
Mhm.
It's not something that I would claim at this point in my life. I would not claim to
Mhm.
be independent or codependent,
Mhm.
but I know that they right there, just at the
Mhm.
door, just scratching at the door. And
Mhm.
the second is where I am, it's like no days off, right? If I slip up even a little bit, I can be over there
Mhm.
behaving like that, trying to take care of people who don't need to be taken care of, right? Because there'll be that part of me who's been taking care of my mama since I was like 12 who will kick in. I'll see somebody in a situation and I'll feel like I just got to. Um,
Mhm.
so I would say I'm in a space where I'm really leaning into interdependence. I'm really learning how to be a recipient of what the village has to offer. And this is like a first for me. Like
Mhm.
literally within the last year or so, I've learned more than I probably ever had about being okay with receiving as much as giving, and learning not to be ashamed when I'm in the space of receiving.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I'm doing my best to stay more in that interdependent space, and learning how to not feel ashamed for being in need, learning how to be okay with saying, hey, I don't have it all figured out. I actually could use the guidance. I actually could use
Mhm.
support. I actually
Mhm.
do need help.
And another thing too, while I was talking about interdependence, and like KC touched on it, I have to be led by God. And I know everybody does not believe in that way, but I have to. I have to be led in the relationships that I have. I have to be led as it pertains to who I get close to. Because what I don't want to do is be around someone that's just constantly triggering all of those old wounds because of their behavior. I'm not talking about just the thing of, oh, I need some therapy in this area because I'm over here wigging out, but more so one of those things of I've come across an individual that is irritating something that is from my past that I don't want to be a part of. I don't desire, for certain things to be in my life. Like if I coming out of abusive relationships, the last thing you want to do is be around someone that's abusive too, in any type of form, whether that's physical or mentally or emotionally or physically or any other way. You do not want to be abused again. And so I try my best to be careful about who I attach myself to, and praying about, is this person supposed to be in my life? Should I partner with them? Should I allow them the space? Because just because they kin to me don't mean anything if we don't have the same mindset. And when I say the same mindset, I'm not talking about we got the same religion. I'm not talking about that we have the same even outlook, but can we come together and not try to harm one another? And that's where I am.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. It does require a certain level of discernment to know who you can actually be interdependent with. And I love
Mhm.
what Brandon says here. I call that being family, including friends. That's how I live. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what it really comes down to, right? A lot of us grew up in families where some things got missed.
Right.
Intergenerational trauma, historical trauma
Mhm.
got us all in some weird places. But I think
Mhm.
as we're picking up the pieces and really reclaiming who we are, a lot of us are learning how to be interdependent. And
Mhm.
it takes work.
Mhm. And it takes courage
It absolutely takes
to
courage.
open up, to be vulnerable, to receive.
Yep.
One
And,
thing I have been guilty of is not wanting people to do anything for me. I'm like, I'm good. I have had that I'm good for years, decades. But and now, and not to say I'm just in the worst of positions now, but it's one of those things. How long am I going to be? How long am I going to keep that same attitude and push away the ones that are trying to embrace me when I know I need a hug, who are
definitely.
trying to pour into me when I know I'm empty, who are trying to encourage me when I know I'm in a low space? I have to be willing to say I have need
Yep.
too.
Yep. And I think that's really hard for the people who tend to, participate in codependent relationships as the giver.
Mhm.
Because I relate to that strongly. Being
Mhm.
able to say, I also need help. I'm not
Mhm.
just here to just give until I die.
Mhm.
I also would like to receive.
Mhm.
I think that's a huge lesson
Mhm.
to learn. And I think I saw uh Brit Family Fun talking about, can you be in between all three? Yeah, that's why I
Mhm.
was asking, how do you lean? Right?
Mhm.
For me, I'm I'm coming out of independent and codependent, and I am really doing my best to step into interdependence. So yeah, this is, it's just a self-assessment just to see kind of where you are in it. There's really
Mhm.
no right or wrong answer.
Right, there isn't a right or wrong answer, and that's the thing about I've been in all 3 spaces before. Um, Even now, I'm in a space where I can say that I am leaning towards interdependence for probably the first time in my life. I can't remember a time where I tried to be interdependent, where I would even allow myself to become interdependent. Because when it comes to codependency, I mean, you can literally have Stockholm syndrome and be in a codependent situation, you know, and that's unhealthy. But with me, as it pertains to the interdependence, it took it took me volunteering to be there and allow myself to be there in the space of others.
Hmm.
Because sometimes the biggest part is just
Yep.
showing up
Yep.
for yourself, showing up for others, you know,
Yep.
showing up to receive. Because it's not always, I got to have something in my hand every time I see you.
Ooh, now that's been a challenge for me, right? Definitely have been raised to be more of a giver and
Mm-hmm.
and learning how to feel okay when I don't have. And because in my mind, based on how I was raised, that means
Mm-hmm.
that I shouldn't even show up because now I'm
Mm-hmm.
not worthy. I can't show up. I don't have anything. And so I've been really getting taught by my village like, no, your presence is a gift. It's okay. You don't always have to be doing, you don't always have to have. Just be. We're happy to have you here. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been a humbling place to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm working on it. The Ellis Oracle said, I'm working on building interdependence. It definitely is a skill that takes intentionality. That's it right there.
No lies. Brandon of Palm Beach said, based on our definition, he definitely, oh, hold on, I lost it. Oh, definitely 100% interdependent. Then said, but being interdependent does not mean being taken advantage of. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Boundaries.
Mhm.
Okay. Then I see the other one. You want to put it up? Okay. I was raised to treat others how you want to be treated. And if they're a-holes to me, I just give them the finger and walk away.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you lucky if you even get a finger out of me these days.
Mhm.
Brit Family Fun says I struggle with if someone does something for me, I feel like I have to do something back or I'm less than. I relate.
I understand. I really do. And I have had to um sometimes recognize when I see it in other people. Um because it's easy to get used to having to give to other people, because of what they did to you. That sense of obligation that comes with receiving from people,
Yep.
it's hard to deal with sometimes.
Yep.
And that whole thing of I'm not making the mark. I'm missing the mark. I'm not up to par. I'm not up to the standard of everyone else. That I heard someone say that comparison is the thief of joy. And a lot of times when you feel yourself comparing yourself to someone else or a group of people, you will overextend yourself. You will overcompensate by doing the most and giving the most. When in fact sometimes the only thing you can give is a thank you.
Yep.
And I appreciate that. And that's enough. Casey the one said spiritually, independency to me mean in yes, independency to me means God wants you to be still. Remove all so you can focus on his word and what he has in store for your life. Absolutely. Sometimes people will help you just so they can have a favorite card. But you can recognize those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It really was.
Yep. So I have one last question
Mhm.
because we're getting ready to wrap this thing up.
Mhm.
What does healthy support look like to you today? What does healthy support, and I'm about to type it in the chat, look like to you today?
It looks like you see me. You see me when I'm hurting. You see me when I'm in need. You see my vulnerabilities. You see past the talent. You see past the abilities. Um, and you're able to see me as a human in my humanity, in my flawed self. You're able to look and see me and not look away. That to me carries what I consider a healthy relationship because I'll be able to do the same, to be able to see an individual in all of their flaws, beyond what they can do, beyond what they can't do, and just be able to receive them as a person and be willing to make the exchange, whether that exchange is emotional or that exchange is spiritual, or even if it's a monetary exchange, but be open to not only serve the person, but also open in case they're equipped to serve me. That is my definition of a healthy relationship.
I'm looking at what some of our honorary cousins are saying in the chat. I feel like you spoke for both of us because I couldn't add anything more eloquent than what you said. But Brick Family Fun
She
says,
made it plain.
okay, healthy support means that I matter and the other person does. Period.
Mm-hmm. Well, she
Oh,
dropped the mic on that one.
that was it.
Look at this one. Non-judgmental, vulnerability, etc. Absolutely.
Yes.
That vulnerability is a factor right there. Let down the armor so someone can see you.
Yep.
Take off the veil so someone can see you. Take off the mask so someone can see you.
And then on the flip side, you know, as the person who is doing the seeing, don't just be
Mhm.
looking just to be looking, right? If the
I
person
know,
who's
right?
taken off their veil, remove the armor, open up your heart. Like
Mhm.
sometimes I think those of us who can see, we get so caught up in the diagnosing of another
Mhm.
person's problems that we
Mhm.
forget to meet their heart with our heart.
Mhm. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I've done that. I probably did it recently. Now that I think about it. I don't know what it looks like because I myself crowd the vision and don't know what it's capable of looking like. Mm.
I think that's a beautiful place to be, Mrs. 86 Virgo, because
Mhm.
and we're in a time of year where spring is coming. In some circles that I know, I would say this is the visionary time of year, where you
Mhm.
really get a chance to look at what is your vision as the plants and the flowers are starting to sprout. You get to sprout a new vision for what healthy
Mhm.
support looks like for you. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say in a couple weeks.
Mhm.
The
The
Illis
irre-
Oracle.
mhm.
Healthy support is being able to ask, receive, and give in a harmonious way. I love that word harmonious.
Yes.
hmm
Sound like music to my ears.
Tina is absolutely eloquent with her words.
Oh, thank you.
And speaking of Miss Eloquent with your words, Tina, would you like to go ahead and close us out? Give us our benediction.
Absolutely. Um, Sometimes we have to take a moment to consider what we've been learning from, who we've been learning from. We have family. We have friends that we consider family. We have loved ones that are close to us that have shaped what we think about ourselves, what we think about the world, and what we think about family. Tonight, we've been discussing about independent, independence, codependence, and interdependence. And I believe that we've landed on interdependence being the main thing that we all should be working towards with our family, the ones that we've chosen, and in some aspects, the ones that we've been given. Hopefully, tonight we've said something that has caused you to pique your interest as it pertains to wanting to pour into others in vulnerability and willing to be poured into as you stay open for them. Tonight, ask yourself a question. Who is in my corner? Who can I depend on? And furthermore, what do they need that I can provide? Starting in that place right there, you'll discover that you have more support than you thought you did. You may need to clean up some relationships. And at the end of the day, somebody actually loves you. Thank y'all for coming out.
Yes, yes, yes. And I just want to say, we do not take it for granted that y'all be sitting up with us late at night. We know some of y'all got to go to work early in the morning. Some of y'all are on different time zones. We do not take this lightly that y'all be sitting here chatting with us, really being involved in these conversations with us. Y'all mean the world to us. We are so happy to have y'all as honorary cousins. And if you want to bring another cousin with you to the next one 2 weeks from now, we'll be happy to have them too.
Yes, indeed. We having a family reunion out here. But thank you all for coming out. And as I always say, God bless you all and good night.
Good night, love
Bye.
you all.